What's going on YouTube? Jake of All Trades here, and today we are talking about E3, and more specifically we're going to be talking about the gameplay trailer of Battlefield 2042. So I've been trying to keep a pretty close eye on E3 2021 to get a good idea of what we're going to see in the near future and what the big releases are going to be and just the releases in general. So I actually tuned in live on Sunday, and that is where we had the Xbox and Bethesda showcase, which was really cool. And we're going to be talking about Battlefield 2042, which was inside that showcase. And there's a lot of other stuff too that we might cover in another video. But like I said, Battlefield 2042 is going to be our focus today. So instead of doing a reaction, we're actually just going to break down the gameplay trailer and pick out pieces of it that stand out as maybe a new mechanic to Battlefield that we haven't seen before, and just kind of overall things that we can expect moving into Battlefield 2042. So talking about Battlefield 2042, I think this is going to be a huge comeback for Battlefield as a whole, as long as the game maintains what Battlefield is pretty true to. And I think the core of Battlefield and what people think of when they think Battlefield, I'm sure 4 comes to mind, and the setting of being modern, which we have that in 2042, which is a huge W. Large maps, the vehicle gameplay, and then the large amount of players playing in the map is another big thing, and I think that's what drew a lot of people to Battlefield. So this game has all of that, and there isn't any serious balancing issues. I think we're gonna have a really successful Battlefield coming out. So getting past my take on it, now we're just gonna break down the gameplay trailer and see what sort of elements might be new to Battlefield in this gameplay trailer, in some maybe previous elements we've seen in the past, and really just kind of break down and see what this gameplay is going to be like. Obviously we won't know everything until we actually get to play the public release. So we're going to go through the gameplay trailer, and then after, I do have a conversation with one of my close friends who's a Battlefield veteran and kind of get his take on it, and you guys can kind of see how we are breaking down the game. So let's jump right into it. So I am going to be playing this at a little bit slower speed to avoid copyright issues and with the sound off. But I'm actually going to slow it down a bit more because it's definitely worth watching a couple times. And like I said, I'll have the link in the description for this. But this is pre-alpha gameplay, so, and they have up to 128 players. And one thing to note, and from what I've read, so on last gen consoles won't actually support 128 players. They'll support the standard 64 players. So that's something to take into consideration, while the next gen consoles like Series X, PS5, and PC will be able to support 128 players. How those will cross over, I'm not exactly sure, but we'll just have to see in the near future. So right here in the beginning, we are in a helicopter as one of the passengers. We can see right off the bat 4-man squads from the looks of it. Even though we have a larger lobby, it doesn't look like we'll have any larger squads than 4 people. You can get a pretty good idea of the HUD and what it looks like. And it looks really clean, looks nice. And there's some pretty interesting details about the HUD that we'll go into a little bit later. And right here we have, this is probably inside the Apache. And you can see, like a lot of the Battlefield games, the vehicle gunplay is pretty awesome. So this is definitely a new component, this equipment right here. As you can see, this is some sort of rope gun. The verticality aspect from the gameplay trailer, it's quite a bit. We really have a lot of vertical elements that's being implemented into Battlefield. And one other thing to note on this part right here is there probably is going to be some in-game transactions. And right here we have some sort of assassination, which we haven't seen in Battlefield, but we've seen quite a bit in Call of Duty, whether that's Modern Warfare, Warzone, Black Ops, Cold War. So quite a few of those games are doing it, and this might be something we're getting in Battlefield as well. And a big thing in this trailer that you'll see is Levolution is huge in the Battlefield world, and it's one of the elements that I forgot to mention when I was mentioning things that kind of define Battlefield. But Levolution is huge, and we do have the presence of a storm. We saw that in the initial trailer, and now we're seeing it in the gameplay trailer too. How it'll affect the gameplay, we're not exactly sure yet. There's little clues in here that I'll kind of point out that might lead us to some answers. But really cool looking aircraft there. It almost looks like some sort of Osprey aircraft. Tanks dropping in, that's really cool. I don't think in previous Battlefields we've had anything like that. Or at least I didn't remember that in 4. But it's a cool mix, the 2042 kind of time frame, because we have a mix of kind of current day vehicles and stuff, and then some modern as well. So I actually really like that, and I don't think it mixes it up too much. But as you can see here, we have like kind of normal Abrams looking tanks. Cool looking modernized Humvees that are lifted up a little bit, which is really cool. But yeah, like the initial trailer, just absolute chaos, and even in the gameplay trailer we're seeing a lot of chaos, which is pretty neat. The graphics are really stunning, especially when it comes to the particle matter and stuff like that. You can really get a good idea on what it looks like here. But this is that storm element that I mentioned, which I think that'll mostly deal with Levolution and things like that. But I'm sure it'll affect the gameplay a little bit too. One thing to keep an eye on in this too is you'll see the HUD almost like it's being EMP'd, where you're losing power to your HUD and you're not able to see it. It kind of glitches out. And our prediction is as you get closer to the storm, it might get worse. But that's not confirmed, but from what we've seen in the gameplay trailer, it kind of looks that way. And right here is a huge spot. Right here is where it looks like you can change your weapon attachments in game, which is pretty wild. I don't know how that's going to affect the gameplay, and it's very much on the fly. You can change your optic, your foregrip attachment, magazines, and then your barrel attachment right on the fly, which is pretty neat. I don't know if it was all that necessary in my opinion, but cool feature that they're adding. Hopefully it won't break the game somehow as far as balance goes. And you can see we have the presence of a little bird. I'm sure many people are very happy to see that again. And elements that we've seen in the past, we definitely playing Battlefield 4, you'd have people, stick C4 onto certain vehicles and launch them into others. So we're seeing that in here, which is pretty cool. So they're kind of staying true to, I feel like, classic Battlefield 4 gameplay. Verticality is just so big in this from the looks of it. I mean, these buildings look like they just absolutely topple like a map like Siege of Shanghai, which is really cool. One thing I'm very curious about is how interactive each building is. But right here is too where we'll see another presence of the wingsuit. This looks like a normal glide jumping off of like the building in Siege of Shanghai until the wingsuit comes out. Then you really can get that distance. But as you can see, those buildings are giant. So that is really cool to see. And here we have the presence of the storm right there. And you can see, I'll rewind it a bit. You can really see the HUD going crazy right here as we're really close to the storm. But we're pretty close to the storm here. And we notice the HUD actually doesn't seem to be freaking out that much. So I don't know if that's something that's inflicted by enemy players, or if it's just something that happens periodically throughout the map. We don't really know yet, and we probably won't know until we get some public gameplay in. But as expected, the vehicles look awesome, the guns look awesome. I mean, DICE, they really know how to do modern titles, and I mean, the titles that took place in older times too look really good. But yeah, the modern just looks so good. This is an interesting piece too, the rocket. I don't know if this is some sort of game mode where you have a team defending the rocket and a team attacking, trying to get it to, or defending tries to make sure it has a successful launch while attacking stops it, something like that. That was speculated. I'm not sure if this is just some sort of game mode or if that just goes on in one of the maps in the background, but it's pretty cool, and they also have that in the original trailer, not the gameplay trailer. But that is it, guys. Battlefield 2042. I'm pretty excited about this one. I'm kind of ready to get back into Battlefield and give it a go. So prepare for more July 22nd, 2021. I don't know if this is just going to be more gameplay or what exactly they're releasing. Maybe a little bit more where the devs talk about it a bit more and expose some elements that we might not have seen yet. But that'll be interesting to see. We do have an official release date, and I think my buddy when we were talking about it says the actual release date, and I'll be playing those clips here coming right up. But yeah, that is it, guys. As far as my final take on it, I think they're definitely in the right direction for sure. As far as creating a modern title, looks like very large interactive maps, which is great. Pretty good sized lobbies. If you're on next gen or PC, you're gonna get 128 players per lobby, which is awesome. I think a lot of people feel like the more the merrier when it comes to the lobby size. So I think as long as there isn't any sort of crazy balancing issues as far as weapons and vehicles go, I think this is going to be a huge success. And as long as people like the maps.
I don't know, this looks like some sort of defibrillator. That's probably a med kit, and that's probably... Fuck, I don't know. Something.
So it looks like for that quick selection in the menu for the like that scene with the vector where you're selecting attachments in game.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's just barrel, mag, sight, and then I guess your lower rail, whatever grip attachment you want.
Yeah. So I mean, if that's the case,
yeah,
I don't think that'll be a big deal.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I never even thought any game would come up with a system like that, thinking about it. Dude, the Levolution looks crazy with that tornado.
Yeah, no, that's another thing that I'm curious about, because that shit might get fucking annoying.
Yeah. I was just watching the scene right after the elevator when they're like on that rooftop.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it's like blowing people off the rooftop. Maybe that's because of how far away it is.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's got to have some sort of impact. I mean, obviously visibility is probably a big one.
Right.
But...
yeah, I'm wondering, it shows them go up the elevator. I'm wondering... I mean, I don't think that there'll be very many buildings that you would be able to go, like, up in individual floors.
Yeah.
I think it's more of just, like, a lobby / rooftop.
Which I'm...
kind of the same...
I'm okay with that. I think it would be really cool, though, if that is the case, if there was just a lot of buildings you can interact with.
Yeah.
Because, like, in 4, thinking about it, you really can't interact with that many buildings. Like, in Siege of Shanghai, like, it's just the one main one that collapses, and then the other ones, you can get to the rooftops by helicopter, but other than that, it's not really a whole lot you can interact with on those buildings and go into, Yeah, so I wonder...
It looks like that helicopter is firing... It looks like the guns are firing 2 different directions. So I'm guessing that particular helicopter has 3 seats, I'm guessing. And the other one's aiming like up on the roof.
Oh, I see what you mean.
So I'm trying to see, I can't tell. It looks like there's 3 domes on that little, so maybe the pilot in the front, and then two separate gunners, I guess.
Yeah. And they're definitely not just like regular gunners where you hop in the seat with your rifle and you're shooting out. I mean, that's part of the helicopter's weapon system for sure.
Yeah. Oh shit. Okay, so when you're in the tornado, it looks like your HUD fucks up. I thought that was just like something. So I guess like I'm wondering if there's like an EMP that takes away people's HUD.
Yeah, that could be. Oh, I see the EMP you're talking about too. How you can't see your HUD.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see like it's acting all crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that is if that's like something imposed by like an enemy, or if that's just from being next to the tornado, if that's like a... Well, no, because that other guy's parachuting near the tornado and his isn't doing it.
Oh. That
But
could be some kind of...
That could be the other team, because that's a different squad. They had different names. So I'm wondering if that's like a little perk or something, or, you know, like... Now I'm wondering if they're gonna have commander mode. Because if you look on the, like if you look at the website, they have the, specialist class, and there's 2 of them that they're not showing yet. So I'm wondering if there's some sort of, like, squad leader or like a commander or something that can call in extra stuff like that.
Yeah. I really like too, man, looking at this. It's kind of neat. If you look at the map HUD, like it shows you wherever the player is from the looks of it.
Yeah, so you can do call outs.
Yeah,
like,
you'll get that.
I'm at such and such place.
And it's already named, like from the looks of it. Like I'm looking at like the 2-minute area, and there's one where the guy's jumping out, and if you look, when he jumps off and he's using the wingsuit, it doesn't have any sort of objective defined. So that shows he's not on a point. But then I think when he drops down, or when they go to the next scene, you see how there's that
archway suburbs.
Yeah, and like it's got that little like point for the icon. I think that it's like indicates like where you currently are, and then like you said, they named it like that one's archway and suburbs,
stadium.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Got, like, Echo Charlie. Yeah, it's got like all the...
Watching this gameplay like around 1:13 around there. I don't know what map this is, but it looks like there's still just 5 objectives. But like you were saying earlier, within those objectives, are there like small points as well to capture that area?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Let's see. I'm trying to see where where you'll be able to see it at. So maybe all the maps won't have multiple. Okay, right there at... Is that like 2... It's where the tornado... Where he's like diving into the tornado or something. Oh, 213, right? When it pulls away like the little car. You can see like he's on Charlie 1. Which...
Trying to see up up top where it says Geo Vlad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can see his parachutes deployed.
Dude, if you're that close to a rocket launching, that would like vaporize like your insides, like you would rattle so hard.
Yeah. Best case scenario, your hearing is gone and you live.
Dude, it's like 200 and like 200 and something decibels, like near a rocket. Like that's enough sound pressure to like completely you would get a concussion just from the sound.
Yeah. My dad still tells me to this day Saturn V's like the loudest thing he's ever heard in his life. And I believe it.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, that actually crosses the threshold of like it's not sound anymore. It's like it's energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I still have some questions, but
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It looks pretty cool.
I'd say their gameplay trailer though, it does give us a lot of insight, you know? Like because there's some gameplay trailers that come out that you're like there's definitely more unknowns than knowns, but I feel like this gives us a pretty good idea on a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah, I think as much as I don't want to, like, I don't want to go all in just because, I mean, I don't know. I feel like maybe they might have course corrected on this one.
Yeah.
I hope.